I didn't even think about that.
What?
I didn't even think that was irresponsible at all. I didn't even cross my mind.
John, we're not there yet.
No,
Let's do
it's
the
not.
intro.
Whatever, he could crop it.
Talking about a picture here.
No, we're just saying like there wasn't our thoughts. I guess we could say that.
All right, I'm Jenn.
Oh my goodness.
You should make this the intro of the podcast.
This is great.
Oh my
Fail on
god.
the intro.
This is so good. This is gold.
This is all over.
If I could like trim this
This is like in
down.
the middle of nowhere. Just throw your name
If I
in the
could
middle of
crop this,
conversation.
if I could crop this as Jen says, then we're gonna be good.
Yeah.
I only do photos.
Okay. Today we are going to talk about the irresponsibility of Dumbledore leaving a young baby on the doorstep of someone else's house for pretty much the entire night.
Questionable at best.
Didn't even cross my mind that was weird.
Yeah, same. To be honest,
The two females didn't find that weird.
it's not weird to leave a
nurturing
baby on a
instinct.
doorstep. Apparently, I don't know.
Yeah, I was like, okay. I don't know.
At least he left a note. Welcome to our podcast. I'm John,
Jenn.
Danny.
And Kristen.
and this is Harry Potter and the First Time Readers.
Woo.
We did it.
We did it, guys. First time. Nailed it. First one. Okay, we're gonna just jump right into this because I have so many questions for you guys about these first 5 chapters. So, can one of you summarize in like 3 sentences what the first chapter was about?
I feel like it was about dropping Harry off. I think that's where it ended. Like, he's on the porch, but I don't remember if we met the Dursleys in the first chapter. I think it was just like we met the other characters: Dumbledore, Hagrid, Professor McGonagall.
Professor.
And she was a cat for most of the chapter. And then by the end of the chapter, Harry is
Oh, no, they...
on the doorstep.
They kind of described the Dursleys.
Yes.
A little bit.
Oh, nice. Because Mrs. McGonagall is watching.
Yeah.
Professor McGonagall.
I don't know why that's my
Wow,
answer.
he's going to strangle you.
I'm an amateur, guys. Give me a break.
Give him a little leeway.
Yeah, you're a first time reader, so that's okay.
Yeah, we got to meet those characters, but she was watching the Dursleys that whole time.
Yes. And it was just the intro of like something happened. He who must not be named kind of had his downfall, and everyone's celebrating right now.
Yeah.
And then
Oh,
Harry
yep.
gets dropped off. So it was just the intro to like the entire series. There's a lot packed into this, so I just want to like talk about some of this. The first question that I have are, what are just your general, like when you read this for the first time, did this chapter hook you or not?
I think more so than I thought it would, because I forgot about the history stuff of like who Harry Potter's mom was, like what was the relationship with the Dursleys, right? Am I saying that right?
Yeah.
Because I was like, how are they related again? So I forgot about that, and then the celebration of how big of a win it was that Voldemort was, or he shall not be named, or whatever we want to call him here, Voldy.
Voldy, I like it.
Oh, man. It's weird that I cringe when I hear his name. I'm like, it's ingrained
Yes.
in me. I'm like, I don't stop saying that. And he's like, Voldy. I'm like, that's disrespectful. He hears you.
He hears me.
I'm like, don't say that, Jen. I'm like, we're not mature enough wizards yet. Maybe by book 4 we can call him
Wait,
by
but I
his
know what
name.
house I'm in.
Wait, we'll get to that. Don't spoil that yet. That is so funny though. Even now when someone says Voldemort, you're like, ooh.
Oh, goodness.
No, don't
I'm
say
not
the
ready.
name.
I'm not ready.
Okay, we'll call him He Who Must Not Be Named until
At
you guys
least
get
until I'm
comfortable.
Which will be when?
I don't
We
know
gotta conquer that fear, Danny.
This is
Call
a
him by
big
his
fear.
name.
Okay, here's the next question though. What's your general impression of He Who Must Not Be Named?
He's
It
not
doesn't.
mentioned that much.
Yeah, he's not.
Um,
Is he a wizard to be feared?
it seems so, because it would be such a. Why would it be such a big celebration that he is gone or disappeared?
Well, I think to me it felt weird. Like, they said he was gone, but they also were foreshadowing kind of clearly, we don't know where he is. I'm like, is he gone? Is he dead? How did a baby kill this guy? But everyone's celebrating, so he was clearly oppressive at some point. But it doesn't feel conclusive. I was like, maybe some premature celebration.
Well, I guess you'd want to celebrate like that if it's such a like he's gone no matter how much amount of time. We can just be normal.
Yeah.
I don't know.
It's like the Wizard of Oz, like Ding Dong, the Witch is Dead kind of thing.
Yeah, and they. Yeah.
Dun, dun, dun. So,
I was just gonna say, I think the characters, the relationship between them seemed deeper. Like between McGonagall and Hagrid and Dumbledore, I was kind of like, oh yeah, they've got like history that it was intriguing and kind of drew me in a little bit. I like wanted to know more about that. Like, yeah, they were just hinting at things. McGonagall said something about trusting Hagrid, I think, and Dumbledore said I would trust him with my life. And I'm like, well, why does McGonagall not trust him very much? And he does seem like, I don't know,
Yeah.
a little
a bit
emotional,
clumsy.
a little clumsy,
Yeah.
you know.
I can relate.
But it was cool. I like that they had different takes on the guy.
yeah. I mean, that's one of my favorite lines in the first chapter. It says, "You think it wise to trust Hagrid with something as important as this?" Dumbledore says, "I would trust Hagrid with my life." Which I love. It says something about each of their personalities too. So what are your impressions of the three main characters so far that we have? So the three main characters being Professor McGonagall, Hagrid, and Dumbledore. Not the Dursleys. We're going to talk about the Dursleys in a second, but about those three.
McGonagall, seems very protective of Harry, right? Wasn't she the cat watching over to make sure everything went smoothly? And she was probably there before, checking out the home and the family before it got dropped off.
Yeah.
Dumbledore.
He was like Child Protective Services right there, like
Yeah,
making
I
sure,
feel like-
making
Yeah.
sure the house is okay,
She's like,
suitable.
like, is he gonna get dropped off here? Really? Like, this is where we're dropping him. Maybe I have to stay longer. Dumbledore, I guess I didn't. He just seems like all-knowing in that moment, kind of like protective also, but like, yeah, I trust that it'll be fine. And then Hagrid, he's just like the clumsy guy that comes in with the baby.
Those are great descriptions. Those are so good.
I think you can trust someone with your life, but not want to lend them your car. So I'm kind of like,
Really?
yeah, I just felt like Dumbledore's description of Hagrid was like, in some ways, good. Yeah, trust him with your life. If you have some isolated situation where it's life or death and you can trust him, but like, that doesn't mean he's not clumsy. Does that make sense?
Quiz for you real quick.
That's like me. No, I'm just kidding.
You're going to say that about every character. Oh, that's like me. Oh, Hermione, brilliant. That's like me.
No. I'm more of like the clumsy, gets hurt all the time. What's his name, the other kid? We're not there yet.
Neville.
Oh, yeah. Neville.
Yeah, we'll get there. Here's a quiz for you guys. I don't think you're going to get this one right because everyone passes over this in the first week. Because you mentioned borrowing a car. Who did Hagrid borrow the motorcycle from? Do you remember the person's name?
I don't even think I remember.
I
You
kind of forgot
don't
he even
say it.
borrowed it. I was like, maybe it was
I know
his.
he borrowed it.
He's not mentioned at all in the rest of the books.
Oh, wow.
And you just said
One
it's a
and
guy.
done?
He's not mentioned at all in the first book.
Oh, but he comes back.
We'll see.
Ooh.
His name is Sirius Black.
Ah,
It was
I
fun.
forgot that.
Little fun tidbit for you.
I heard that name before.
So what about your impression of the Dursleys?
Ugh.
Yeah.
They're the worst.
Go on.
How do you expound on that? They're just the worst. They're terrible, terrible people with how they like. I mean, if they didn't want Harry that much, like, I don't know, why didn't they put him up for adoption instead of just treating him like garbage? You know?
What were they? I feel like they were like
Like-
afraid of something though, right? Because if it's the sister that was a wizard.
Yeah, I feel
What
like
do
that
you
would be
call
even
them?
more cause
Yeah.
for them to like get him out of the house.
That's true.
It's funny that they kept him, to be honest.
Well, oh, this is interesting because you read the series before, but
Yes.
there's stuff that is really intriguing about the stuff that you're saying that we'll get to in the seventh.
Like, I don't know, because I read it years and years ago. Like, it's
This
been a
makes me
while, so
excited. I am so pumped for this. Oh my gosh. Okay, so we'll get there.
I think in chapter 1 they seem boring, but not bad yet. I don't remember hating them or anything. I was just kind of like blah, like stereotypical suburban, just like boring job.
Yeah.
This dude does not find any adventure in life.
Oh,
they have
right.
jump
Now I
chapters
remember what
in
you're
that.
saying.
One of my
Explanation.
favorite lines in these chapters too, I think it
Yeah.
sets the character description of Mr. Dursley really well. Says he hurried to his car and set off home, hoping he was imagining things, which he had never hoped before because he didn't approve of imagination. I love that description because it's
Yeah.
like she does really good with short little descriptions. She doesn't go into detail about characters, but a sentence like that makes you like, okay, I know this guy pretty well.
Yeah.
Like if he doesn't approve of imagination, like which is the bedrock of this entire story, then he's like the almost the nemesis in the first part, more so than even Voldemort is.
Yeah.
But do you think it's because of this his sister-in-law?
We'll get there. Wait a few books.
Because you saying
I'm not
that,
gonna say yes
no,
or
I
no.
know. Don't say it. Don't spoil anything. But it just makes me think that they are like so against this wizard world because Mrs. Dursley must have had some weird childhood like interaction with his sister that maybe she was the golden child because she had all those magic powers and
In the first 5 chapters, when Hagrid knocks down the door and like gives Harry the letter, like physically gives him the letter.
Yeah.
Mr. Dursley says we promised we would stamp all this out of him when we took him in, and like all of Harry's mother stuff is like the stuff that they want to stamp out, all the magic, and they just want to make him normal like them.
Yeah.
Which is interesting. We'll go into this very deeply soon.
In book 7.
There is so much there, guys. Okay, this is just like another little question. Do you find it odd that McGonagall can transform into a cat? Is that just normal for you when you read that?
Yep.
Why didn't any other character transform into any other animal? And then the more important question.
She's a witch.
Okay, so do you think all witches and wizards can transform into an animal?
Maybe witches can because women are better.
Okay.
I'm just kidding.
No.
I guess I always
never thought about
assumed.
Yeah.
It just seems normal.
It did.
Sorry.
It did seem normal.
Yeah, because you just assume like growing up with witches, they were cats and broomsticks.
Yeah.
And
that's
a
true.
wizard, I never really thought of. So.
Yeah.
What was that one series? The
Bewitched?
Yeah, Bewitched.
And then
Yeah.
Sabrina the Teenage Witch.
Right.
Did they all transform into cats?
No.
Or could they all have that? Because
But
Bewitched
there was
they
a
did,
cat
right?
there.
Oh, that's right. What was I Dream of Genie?
Do
Wasn't
they turn into
Oh,
cats?
that's
Maybe
right.
I assumed this.
Yeah. I don't
Because
know.
there's always a black cat and a broom and a
for
witch.
sure.
Right.
That's like,
There's the correlation. I
Yeah.
don't know if they ever like.
Yeah, you're right.
and
I'm
it's
wrong.
interesting that she's the only witch, so maybe she's the only one that can transform right now.
Yeah.
Here's
what
a more
it is.
important question. If you could transform into any animal, which animal would you want to transform into? Or maybe not which animal would you want to transform into, which one would you transform into?
I feel like Caitlin asked this.
I have a weird response for this. I want to be a fly.
What?
A fly.
So you'd be a
kinda
fly on the
cool.
wall?
Wait.
I don't want
It's
to read
risky
like.
though.
Yeah.
Someone could come along.
I
and-
know.
Who's gonna suspect a fly?
But
Well,
you
they could just
It's such
squash
a
you because they don't like a fly.
It's
Not
your
like they're like
life
that's
span.
why
Oh,
you
guys,
don't
I thought
like
this was a good
conversation.
answer.
No, sorry. Yeah. That is
Great
good.
answer.
Squash it
But I'm pretty sure their
figuratively and literally.
lifespan is like a few days.
So Kristen's living 3
Well,
days.
whatever.
A lot of valid
Nice
points.
knowing you guys.
But this under magic circumstances, a fly could live longer.
Yeah, there you go.
Yes.
That's true.
Yeah.
That's true.
And then no one would. Yeah, I like that. Isn't there like a superhero thing? What's the
Ant-Man?
Oh, Ant-Man.
Yeah.
Yeah, there you go. Flyman.
Fly woman.
woman.
Sorry,
Fly
fly
woman.
woman.
Correction.
I would like to fly. I think I'd be a bird.
Mm-hmm.
But it feels like you couldn't be a bird in this wizard world. Birds are like different because owls are kind of respected and they've got their own job. So it feels like that's off limits.
It'd be like a bat, but it's like a vampire kind of thing.
Maybe. Is that in the realm? I feel like we could see vampires later.
Could happen.
Or maybe that's like the
I'm not
Twilight
even looking
thing.
at
We
their
don't- I don't
faces.
know. Yeah, you're right. You
I
can't even look. There should be
don't
a wall
Yeah, we should
between
have like a veil.
like, ooh, there's a twinkle in their eye.
No. My facial expressions. I'm gonna be like intrigued about everything that you
Yeah,
say. so.
and play devil's advocate.
Yeah,
get
yeah,
intrigued about
yeah.
stuff that you shouldn't sometimes
And
to throw us
I
off.
want you guys to know it
Yes.
too. The questions that I ask you, there is a mix of meaningful and completely irrelevant questions. So
Okay.
No,
if I ask you a question, you're like, why did he ask that? Maybe it was meaningless.
All right.
Yeah, you don't know. Which animal would you pick, Jen?
Ugh. I always like horses, but then I like magical, so I'd do unicorn.
There you go. There you go. I love it.
Oh, that's awesome.
I loved unicorns growing up, even though they're not real. Well, they are real here, so I'll take that.
There you go.
I might pick like a badger or something like that. I
A
really like badgers.
badger.
And a Hufflepuff. We'll talk about it next podcast. We don't get sorted.
Badgers are the one that kills snakes.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Darn right.
Ah.
We're hardworking, loyal.
Down. But where do you live?
I think I would pick like a bird too, just because the idea of flying just
That
sounds
is
wonderful.
Yeah.
You know, it's funny. Before I settled on my fly, I did. That's actually how I settled on the fly because I was like, I don't like flying, like planes or anything, and I was like, it would be cool to have like an instinct of flying, you know, where it would be no fear. And I could
Okay,
just fly.
I like that.
And then I was like, I want to be a fly on the wall.
I want to get all the hot, juicy gossip.
Yeah,
Right?
seriously though.
That was my.
Flying would be cool too.
Okay.
Maybe I'll be a Pegasus.
Yeah, there you go. I like that. A
Ooh.
Pegasus with a horn.
Wait, can
choices.
unicorns fly?
They.
But maybe only.
No, right?
So, I think they're
Unicorn?
no. I don't
Unicorns
think
But
they
can't.
can.
Pegasus
Right?
can.
Pegasus
They have
can.
wings.
Yeah,
Mhm.
Pegasus
No
can.
horn. Okay.
Maybe
That's
in
in,
some world
I'll be
somewhere.
both.
You could be both. You could transform into either one that you want.
Oh, before we get to chapter 2, there was another chapter 1 thing I thought was cool. When Dumbledore pulled out his thing that was like a lighter, I was like, wait a second, wizards have like technology? That threw me off a little bit because I just never thought of it. I'm like, I thought all their stuff was out loud, like spells and wands and stuff. So I'm like, he's got wizard tech.
His little put outer, that's they call
Yeah.
it.
Real creative.
love the
I know, right?
The naming committee really should work harder on these things. But
Honestly, okay, so that's something that I have to say too. I think she like some of the stuff that she names, J.K. Rowling names in these books are like humorous, but I think she is one of the best character namers since Charles Dickens. Because Dickens is like had a rare natural ability to name characters exactly how they felt, and I think
yeah, you're right.
I think she does that really well. Like Dumbledore, just the word Dumbledore is like it almost feels like wise and like
Yeah, you're right.
ethereal, like a bit strange.
Like
Same
you feel
thing.
like you know the character when you hear their
Yeah.
name already.
Yeah, like McGonagall has that like sternness to it. Hagrid is like kind of friendly and nice. She even did that with certain things, like the wizard bank Gringotts. She got the word Ringotts from something, and then she put a G at the start of it just to make it sound more menacing. So she did like basic stuff like that, which is really cool to me.
That's fun.
Yeah,
Genius. Like
I
so
like that.
simple but genius.
I know, right? I like the character names and like even other ones that we
What
get. I
was
think
she
are just
before?
so good.
An author.
A struggling author.
Okay. She was always okay. That's fun.
This will be. I'll talk about that more in our fun fact for the podcast later. But I still have tons more questions. We're going real slow through this, but this is all right.
Yeah, you can pick up the pace.
Yeah.
You can edit the
Okay.
garbage out.
Here's another question that I have for you. Why do you think that Voldemort could not kill Harry? Do you have
From
any theories
chapter
about
1
that?
through
From chapter
5,
1. No,
though?
just chapter 1.
Oh,
We're still on chapter 1.
But it seemed like more than can't kill him. It was like Harry killed him back or something. It was like it like bounced his thing back at him, and that just felt weird. I don't know, because he also didn't expect it. So whatever it was the surprise to him. It's almost jumping ahead to wand stuff.
Yeah.
But there's a connection between these two.
Yeah, for sure. And we'll get that when they pick out their wands, which we'll get to in chapter 5. So
I have no idea. It is dumbfounding.
that's an interesting theory. You have any ideas, Jen?
no, I guess because I already knew. I just read through it. Like, okay.
Yeah, just like with something. Okay, you couldn't kill him. Oh well, that's it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Well, it's like he's the chosen one. You know, it's kind of classic. We love a chosen one.
Yeah. It's like the
He'll bring
the,
balance
Yeah.
to the force.
the literary motif. Yeah.
Yeah.
He's like, this is the chosen person, and
So I'm real quick to get behind that. I don't
Yeah.
need reasons. I'm like, we'll figure this out
yeah,
later.
yeah.
But for
Good.
now,
I like that.
he's the chosen one.
Okay, and then here's another interesting one. Do you think that Dumbledore was right to separate Harry from the magical world?
Dumbledore's right about everything.
Yeah, that was a tough one for me.
Except not.
Yeah, right. We'll get to that.
It's like pros and cons. Because it's like, wouldn't you want him to be protected in the magical world since they all know? Like, everything
But then
that
he
went
thought
on?
he was going to get
You know,
prideful.
What?
Then he was thinking that
Yeah.
it might get to his head. He
Oh,
would
did
get
he say that?
prideful.
Dumbledore
Yeah.
said
He
that?
said something
Oh.
about
That
like
makes a
Enough to
lot of
turn
sense
any
because
boy's
he
head.
has like
yeah,
this
yeah.
really quiet upbringing. He's like actually humble. I think it's like, starting from the bottom is a good thing.
Yeah. I was just thinking protection-wise.
Yeah, no,
Well,
I
yeah.
felt the same way. I'm like, this feels weird, and they don't love him, and won't there be like psychological impact from that?
Yeah.
What do you mean protection wise?
Just for his safety. Like, he was the target for
Mm-hmm.
he who shall not be named. But it's like we said, is he really gone?
Yeah.
Or were there followers that would come after him?
Yeah.
Just don't know.
Yeah, I know. It's so fascinating. I think that's another. Yeah, I think that's just a tough one because I think it shaped Harry into who he was. He was just like I love his introduction into the wizarding world. He's just like absolute awe. There's one description when he meets Ron, which we'll get to next podcast. So we're spoiling things already. When he meets Ron on the train, he's like more intrigued about what Ron's life is than Ron's about his life. This is like the same, but I just love that. Harry's just so intrigued for the magical world, and it like increases our wonder too.
Yep.
I think that's just something that's so good.
But I think he really would have been totally different if he had grown up in there. Like, he could have just been, like, chip on his shoulder, like, I'm the best thing.
Well, you wonder if he would have been more like Malfoy.
I was thinking that, yeah. That was what crossed my mind.
And would he have ended up in Slytherin?
That's what I was...
Maybe Dumbledore's decision.
Am I spoiling things? Sorry.
To put him there
jumped ahead of the book.
is what saved him from Slytherin. Wait. Jumping ahead. No.
I was like, sorry, I totally like steered it.
That's why this podcast, the first book on this, which is going to be like 3 podcasts, isn't going to be a true like first time readers, because you guys have already read the first one.
Right.
So as we go on, then we'll get more where you guys don't know any of the story ahead unless Jen just speed reads everything really quick.
Well, that's
kind of
it's
good
to do. We can power through the first book and then slow the pace.
Yeah. Okay, so here's just another quick one. What year do you think all this happened? When Harry was left on the Dursleys' doorstep. Did you have a year in mind? It feels like it was 70s or 80s in my mind. After the milk jugs, I was like, this has to be 1910. But then I knew that it wasn't. I was like, I don't know. It felt really early, like we talked about a little bit. And then the next chapter, talking about computers. Even then, I'm picturing early Apple, like in a garage still. Microsoft barely exists. I was like, oh, yeah, definitely. 1980s. Do we have a conclusive timeline yet? Do we know? 1981 it happens. 81. Yeah, so he gets left on the doorstep in 1981. And then the story happens going forward from that. So when he turns 11, it's what, 1992? Or no, it's 1991 because he was 1 when he got dropped off. So he wasn't like just a newborn. He was like 1 year old when he got dropped off. He did like a year with his parents.
He's like literally your guys' ages.
I know, exactly.
Oh, well, 10 years older,
yeah.
but
it's so we start the story at 1991. But like the books came out when we were almost exactly at our age.
And that's why the movies they're our age, because all the actors and stuff they are. But
yeah, that's why it made it fun for like our generation. Okay, and this is the question of chapter 1. Is Dumbledore irresponsible for leaving Harry on the doorstep with just a letter? Like this old man just leaves this 1-year-old.
I was like, I at least thought he would knock on the door, but then the line after that is like something like, and then a few hours later, Mrs. Dursley opens the door. What's her name? Petunia.
Yeah.
I was like, a few hours? But it did say he slept soundly. So I suppose if he woke up, he would have cried and then the door would have opened, I guess. But I also thought maybe somebody's there watching him, keeping an eye until the door was opened.
I thought they probably wouldn't have taken him if Dumbledore, like, knocked. If they saw Dumbledore,
oh, yeah, right.
they probably would have flipped.
That's so fascinating.
And not have taken him. Like, refused.
I didn't even think about that, but that makes sense.
It was like they didn't really have a choice. And like you said, there was obviously someone was watching and they had.
Yeah.
I believe that.
Well, even if it was like a ding dong ditch scenario, you'd think you could at least knock and run.
Yeah.
True.
Or do some magic, get him straight inside somewhere.
Yeah.
True. Yeah.
I have to like imagine that Dumbledore did this. Like I think before he left, he probably cast some spell around Harry. Like that's that's like headcanon for me.
Yeah.
Where he didn't just like leave him on his own. He like did something to like protect him for the few hours that he was. It just seems out of Dumbledore's character. Maybe out of Dumbledore's character to just leave him there. But
why wouldn't she write about it?
What?
Why wouldn't she write about it?
Well, because she keeps such a pace.
She wants you. I feel like
she's just like moving.
Almost to like go into your imagination and come up with this stuff.
Yeah.
I feel like.
I think so.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah. Okay, so can any of you summarize chapter 2? The Vanishing Glass.
Like reading through it real quick.
Danny,
what happens in the Vanishing Glass? I mean, this is the chapter title.
Oh yeah, I wrote at the beginning of the chapter, computer game 90s question mark.
When he was accidentally taken to the birthday party, right?
Yeah.
In the zoo. And they're all looking at the snake and they want it to move, so they're tapping on the glass, and then all of a sudden Harry like hears the snake saying like, oh, they do this all the time or something like along those lines. Is that?
And he speaks to the snake.
And he speaks back to it, and then does he realize that he's talking to the snake, or he's shocked and he's like looking around like, is anyone else hearing this kind of thing? I think that's, and then all of a sudden the glass disappears. Wasn't he like leaning on it too?
Yeah. He was they were leaning on it, and they fell
And
through.
they
Or
fell
something
into
like
it.
that,
And then they wrapped around. Did he wrap around? Or no, he left. He just
was
left.
gonna eat him.
You're believing Piers Polkus' story. No, that's so funny because
Oh.
Piers tells a story after it happened where the snake just slithered by them, and Piers says it wrapped itself around me and was trying to choke me out. So you
That's
believe
so
Piers?
That's right. I forgot. It's stuck.
You know what? This is actually, I don't remember if this came up, but this is giving some credence to your theory of potential Slytherin destination for Harry if he wasn't raised in a different environment.
Yeah.
Talking to snakes.
Yeah, for real.
I know.
Feels interesting.
I already.
But also, are all wizards vegetarian? Because we got them turning into cats and sending letters with owls and talking to animals.
So they don't want
They
to
should
eat.
be.
So I feel like...
They definitely don't eat owl, snake, or
cats.
yeah, or cats.
or frogs. Or
Do you eat those?
I was gonna say, are those
I like
delicacies in your household?
Interesting.
Okay, so there's a funny line in this that I really like in this chapter, which is about Vernon. It says he liked to complain about things. People at work, Harry, the council, Harry, the bank, and Harry were just a few of his favorite subjects. This morning it was motorbikes. I think she just does a great job of like one sentence summaries of this man and like how annoying he was. I think she nails it. But here's my main question for this chapter. Out of all the magical things that Harry can do in chapter 2, what do you think was the coolest thing that he did? So the summary was he was able to make his hair regrow after Petunia gave him a bad haircut. He was able to shrink the sweater that Petunia was trying to force on his head because she didn't want to.
That visual was great.
When Dudley was chasing him, he would just magically vanish on top of the school.
I missed that one, but okay.
He just he thought it was like a gust of wind, but he just was like on top of the school. Then he talked with a snake, or he made the glass disappear. Out of those 5, which do you think is the coolest one? And which one would you maybe want to do if you had like the first ability to do magic?
Talking to a snake, I think is kind of cool. To an animal, and understanding what they're saying back.
Yeah.
That's pretty cool.
Yeah, maybe you're a Slytherin too. Get some Slytherin deep in there.
I thought we weren't talking about houses.
Okay.
Oh, sure. We didn't get there yet. We shouldn't even know what that is yet. Yeah, I think talking to the snake, I think only because in that moment he could soak it in. The rest of them felt like they happened in a flash. It was a blur. He was like, what was that? But it feels like that time he started to understand. It was a little slower.
Yeah. I would have loved to have been in his brain when he ended up on the roof.
Well,
know,
I think
right?
that's
How
what's
did he
weird.
get here?
Like he must have thought he was a little crazy.
Right,
You know,
right.
like,
But that's not just like in your head crazy. That's like I'm
Yeah.
on the roof crazy all of a sudden.
how does he get
Yeah.
down?
So I'll go different and go with that one.
I think I would do hair. You know, like
I
I want long hair today. And it just like
Push
gets
it out.
long.
You're pushing out.
Yeah, you push out your hair. That's 100% how it happens.
Oh, I'm pretty sure he slept and it grew.
Yeah, it's true. You know more about this than I do right now. It's just... Okay, so this is kind of the first chapter where we're introduced to Harry right now. What was your first impression of Harry? Did you like him as a character? Did you not like him?
I think I'm comparing it to the movie though, so it's probably not good. But I thought he was more funny. But I don't remember. This is the first chapter. Second chapter. Yeah, he was sassy in that, and he was like playing back things about Dudley, right, in his mind. I can't.
Even like his sass about not wanting to go to like Mrs. Figg's and like hear the cats'
yeah.
names all the time. Like he's just like a funnier character in the book.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, he
Just
definitely.
like very, I think more like of a normal human in the books.
Right, and that's why I was like, oh my gosh, I missed all this watching the movies.
Now you missed the movies.
Yeah, I definitely thought he was funny. He had a good sass going on.
And then, this is a really important question. With Dudley and all the birthday gifts that he got,
Oh.
what do you think, what is the best birthday gift that you ever got? I actually remember it. This is funny.
yeah.
Me and Danny were really good friends growing up. I remember
You were?
giving you because I remember giving you. My mom like wrapped this, and I was like so excited about this. Giving you a chewy chocolate chip cookies for one of your birthdays. And I remember
I will never forget.
I remember you ripped that open, and you were gonna
crushed
eat.
it.
You were about to eat them,
Yeah.
and your mom was
Like, no, not now. If you eat now, you have to share with
Yes!
everyone. And
Oh
I was
my
like, well, I'm not even now.
yes, I was so mad because I wanted one.
In hindsight, that might have been a mistake. I should have shared. But at the time, I'm like, are you kidding me? These are the soft and chewy ones. This is beautiful. I'm not opening this
Yeah.
for the whole world. There'll only be half left.
That was the best birthday gift I gave.
That was so
What was the best
great.
birthday gift that you guys got? Do you remember? Is that too difficult of a question?
It's like going back a lot of years.
I know.
What, you don't get birthday gifts anymore?
Dang, that's like 34 years worth
Oh.
of gifts.
Well,
I
one's
gotta, like,
gotta
sift
stand
through them
out,
all.
right?
I mean, I don't know. I love everything. I'm so bad.
Such
like
an
everything.
easy
I
answer.
still have
What
like
about
little
a Harry
tiny
Potter
trinkets.
gift of
No, but,
some
like,
kind, though?
Ooh.
I bought all.
I
Oh,
give
but
them
that's
to
such a
myself.
perfect thing people could get to. I can't believe you're buying them all yourself.
I don't know. This is one of those things where my mind goes blank.
Yeah,
There's
it's
too
a
many
tough
things.
question. Yeah,
I
yeah.
just I
It's,
love
like,
everything, and
overwhelming.
I still have like little meaningless trinkets that I'm like, I love that because so and so gave it to me.
Mm.
You know, so like the
Yep.
thing itself doesn't necessarily stand out. It's like, who gave it to me?
Yeah.
Right, right.
Give me a second. Maybe I'll
Dan, you have one?
I'm trying really hard to think.
That's like a tough
I
one. It's like-
can't
yeah.
think of a birthday gift.
Those questions are almost like that was my question. Those questions are almost impossible because if I like see something, then it'll spark my mind. But if you're like, what's the
Yeah.
best birthday gift you ever got? I'm like, how the heck do I go back that far?
Hmm.
So that's a tough
Yeah,
one.
I have like memories of like birthday parties that I
Right.
loved,
Yeah.
but like a gift,
Yeah.
that's a little tricky. Although I did collect, I collected these cow parade figurines. I don't know if anyone knows what they are.
What is Cow Parade?
In the city, remember those big
Yeah, those
cows
big cow
that were like
things.
decorated, like painted?
You're big.
No.
They were
Wait, you-
miniature size.
okay.
Yeah, I was gonna say, I mean,
Gigantic.
You
these were
have
smaller.
giant
But in the
Yes. Yeah.
Wait, so they were out and about in the city,
Yeah. Like
On
Bryant
the
Park
streets.
and stuff.
and you collected miniature versions of the real life ones
Yes.
as collectibles.
And each year they came out with like new ones.
Huh.
So that was kind of
Cool.
cool to see like what one I was going to get next.
That's cool.
Okay, I'll tag team off of that. So growing up, there were porcelain dolls that my mom would get me, like, and they each had the age.
Oh, that's
So those
cute.
were really special. That just like jogged a memory.
That's
Yeah.
awesome. I used to get like test trucks every year.
Oh,
My
yeah.
brother
That's
used
cool.
to get those.
Yeah.
The great debate: do you open it and play with it,
No,
or you
exactly.
save it for
You leave it in the
later?
box.
Oh man.
What did
Yeah.
you do?
Well,
A little of both.
a little both,
A little bit.
exactly.
That's
Yeah.
what-
I somehow thought
Did
they were
they
gonna
come
like
out
go
at
up in
Christmas time?
value.
Christmas
Yeah.
time, yeah.
They came
Like
out.
Beanie Babies. Everyone thought Beanie Babies were going to be a thing.
Oh my
yes.
gosh, yeah. Definitely had a lot of those.
Tons.
I still have a couple.
Everyone has the Princess Diana.
Ooh, that's
Yep.
bad.
So you have it and enclosed and your tag and
Oh, yeah,
everything.
yeah.
Right, you gotta have like the
Pristine.
box
Of
course,
and the
yeah, of
tag
course.
thing. Yeah.
Anyway, what do you guys remember chapter 3? Chapter 3 is letters from no one. Can you summarize what chapter 3 was in like 3 sentences?
I would say they get a letter to the house, and it's to Harry. First time he's ever gotten a letter, maybe. And he's disappointed, and more letters come until eventually he gets the message that he is accepted to Hogwarts.
This is like the ultimate line of this chapter. It's 3 things lay in the doormat. A postcard from Uncle Vernon's sister Marge, who was holidaying on the Isle of Wight, a brown envelope that looked like a bill, and a letter for Harry. I love like his mind too. Like you can tell, you can say like he is
Yeah.
thinking these things, and then he gets this letter and he's like, a letter for Harry. And I love that it's like
Yeah.
the cupboard under the stairs. That's who it's addressed to, Harry
Right.
Potter.
Oh yeah.
Yes.
That was really
Yes.
cute.
Yes.
Ah, number
Like
4,
I kind of got
Privilege
the
Eye.
feeling the cupboard was like a secret. Like they're not like this is Harry's room. Almost
Yeah.
like to the rest of the world they might have been pretending he had a normal room. So maybe that felt like very personal to him in that moment. Like oh wow, somebody actually knows that I'm there.
Yeah, that's a great point.
Yeah.
Like someone is finally recognizes his existence.
Yeah. Makes me so sad.
And
for him.
watching him
No.
though.
I want to give him a hug.
I know.
But then that's also creepy. Like, who's watching me? Like,
I mean,
how
that
do you
is
know
pretty
I'm
creepy,
under the
but-
stairs?
That's true. That's
This is
true.
very true.
Like,
Yeah. That is very creepy, but also like, yeah, kind of comforting.
Well, for him, it was sweet, yeah.
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 And so this is like this was one that like gutted me to start. How devastated do you think he would be as soon as Vernon burns that first letter?
Oh my gosh.
Like a
That
glimmer
hurts.
of hope.
Yeah, just shattered immediately. That's all I wanted to give him a hug.
That's like that day must
I
have
would
been
be
the
so
longest day for him.
depressed.
Yeah.
I wouldn't leave the cupboard or whatever. The door. What did I say?
No, the cupboard. Yeah.
Yeah, the cupboard.
Okay. Yes.
I'm Jen.
Hi. I'm John.
Yeah, I feel like he finally had a letter. It was addressed to him, even though it was like a little creepy. And him listening at the door with Dudley, then like Petunia and Vernon just having a long discussion about this, like being like, we can't let this happen, yada yada. But in his head, that whole day, I'm like, he is just running that back over and over and over and over again in his head, being, why didn't I open it there? Why didn't I just drop it off? And I feel like I honestly, this might be like one of the lowest moments of his life at this moment. Up until now, like he gets a letter and it's that serious that that his aunt and uncle kick him out, and he's not able to like see what this letter is about, and he sees him burning it. That's like devastating.
Yeah.
Which is why it sets up the better hope in the next chapter or in the next section the next day when he gets another letter. Because Dudley gets it, and Dudley is such an idiot. It's like, another letter! He yells it from the front door, like rather than just sitting there and reading it. He is such an oaf. Oh my gosh.
Yeah, I can't stand him. He's so annoying.
So this is just a more difficult question, and we kind of talked about this before. But why do you think the Dursleys do not want Harry to go to Hogwarts at all? Like, wouldn't they want it? Wouldn't they? Oh my gosh. Sorry, my dog just farted, and it smells so bad. Oh, my dog is just sitting underneath my desk right now. Yeah, hopefully. Oh, Wes. Okay, so like on that very serious question, it's probably gonna go over. Do you smell it?
No! I'm just laughing that you announced it. Because I was not expecting that.
It was, every once in a while, it just lets one out. Okay, so going back to this very serious question, why do you think the Dursleys do not want Harry to go to Hogwarts? Because it seems antithetical to what they're trying to do. They hate him.
Yeah, I don't fully understand them. I don't get their
Yeah.
motivation, like why they kept him to begin with, and why they wouldn't want to get rid of him for so long. Maybe it was a money thing, like they thought they'd have to pay for it, or they were just scared of anything with wizardry. Maybe they already had some plan to get rid of him eventually, and this would foil that plan.
I think they just
It's weird.
hated that world so much
Yeah.
that it just translated like they hated him too. So it was like, we hate that, and you're not gonna, because like it's like he would have enjoyed it. So you smell it.
Yeah.
I think it could be like jealousy, though. You know how you could be so jealous you
Yeah.
get bitter at something, and
Yeah.
then it's like you really
Yep.
don't want anything to do with that.
That's a fascinating take.
Because I don't know, something, not that there's much in the beginning, but it seems as though like I have a sister and I'm like thinking, okay, if like she had these powers and stuff, would I be jealous and she gets treated a certain way? Like I don't know how the parents thought of the sisters and how she was treated. I don't know. It just seems she hates it so much that it must have been really bad.
Yeah.
And that's interesting. So then it translates to Harry, like they hate that world so much, but they also hate Harry so much they don't want to give him what he wants, but they also like would rather torture themselves and be with this child than give him what he wants, which is just
That's also, yeah.
Right.
devastating.
It like backfires on them.
Yeah,
That bitterness, just like they're ruining their own
they
lives.
can't win. It's a lose-lose for them.
That's what happens with bitterness.
Yeah.
Yeah. Wow, that was deep, Jen.
I've taken too many classes, John.
And that's the rule with bitterness. You will always lose, no matter what. So this is when they go to that little shack too. Like Vernon goes crazy, and he's like,
Yeah, he's going nuts.
Yeah.
I loved that.
Yeah.
It was
Which
somewhat
show-
satisfying.
Again, it shows like
Oh,
his
yes.
character too. Like
I
he is
remember.
he just will not give Harry any happiness at all, no matter what it takes. He will go clinically insane in order to not give Harry happiness. So I think there's two interesting lines that I think show Harry's personality a little bit more, a lot more than the movies do. So like one of my favorites is, Harry walks in and After she's dyeing his uniform, he goes, "What's this?" he asked Aunt Petunia. Her lips tightened as they always did if he dared to ask a question. "Your new school uniform," she said. Harry looked at the bowl again. "Oh," he said. "I didn't realize it had to be so wet." I love that. He's so sassy.
Laughing out loud when I was reading that, and my sister looks at me. She's like, "What are you laughing at?" I was like, "He's funny."
He is so funny in these books. I love it.
I'll admit though, some of that stuff does make me wonder. Where I'm like, at the beginning, did the Dursleys treat him like one of their own, and did his sassiness get him to a point of trouble, or did they always not like him? Like, I'm almost surprised by his sassiness, which is good. Like, I like it, but there are other times I'm like, I mean, I wouldn't have been able to say that necessarily. My parents would be like, "Quit being rude."
Yeah, seriously.
So I'm like, when I see some of the stuff he says, I'm like, he could rub people the wrong way.
Agreed. Yeah.
But it's also not his parents, so I wonder if that plays into it. Like,
I think there's a byline to this too, and we'll talk about this probably at the end of the whole podcast when I ask you guys like just general questions. But I think one of the biggest themes of these 5 chapters is just resiliency and how resilient Harry is. Like, able to still be sassy even though he's being like pretty much beat down every single day. He is like not a human being every single day. He still has the resiliency to have like sass and just be like funny and still like almost carefree, which is just remarkable for someone his age. Like, that is, he's pretty much in an abusive family and he's able to like rise above that and still be a person. It's awesome. I love that idea.
Like, it feels like his personality, if it wasn't for Hogwarts, he's only 2 or 3 years away from running away from home.
Yeah, agreed.
And just like making his own way in the world. Because he's like smart and independent. So Hogwarts is a pretty healthy thing for him.
And like, this is another one. So when they leave to go to that shack, this is what Harry says. He said he hoped the roof wasn't going to fall in, although it might be warmer if it did. And like his sass again. 4 minutes to go. Maybe the house in Privet Drive would be so full of letters. When they got back, he'd be able to steal one somehow. Which there's just like a common complaint about this in the first movie. There has to be thousands of letters that pour in through the chimney in the movies. In the books, it's like 30 or 40 letters, I think they said. In the movies, it's like letters pour in like crazy, and it drives me crazy. Harry goes up like on the like the coffee table and like is trying to reach for one in the sky, and, like trying to grab one.
The room
I'm like,
that?
dude, just grab one real quick, put it in your pocket, and then just like you're good. And it's the same thing in the books. I'm like, dude, if 40 just poured through, just like you can be sneaky and grab one, dude. You're like, I mean, you guys read the book. He's the youngest Quidditch seeker in a century. And he should be able to easily.
That's huge compared to
Yes, a letter. Like, dude, grab a letter quick and bolt.
Yeah.
You're fast. That drove me crazy.
that
all
is
the time.
annoying. Actually, I didn't think of that. I was frustrated, but
I'm also frustrated by the fact that I feel like there's printers wouldn't work at Hogwarts. So they definitely have magic, but I'm like, if someone is literally handwriting all these letters every single time, and they have to do maybe like 100 to 200 letters for Harry specifically, that person is probably sitting at that desk going, "What the heck? Why are these letters not getting to Harry? This is driving me crazy right now."
wait,
My
how do they
hand
know
hurts."
he didn't get it?
What do you mean?
How do they know that Harry didn't read the letter?
That's a magic. It's a great question.
Because they just keep sending it to different locations, and then it's not like he was going to go the next day to Hogwarts.
Seriously.
Maybe they were all enchanted.
Wait, were these letters delivered by owls?
I don't know.
That's
So the owl can say, "Hey, it's red." Are they like looking?
Because were any of them opened?
the owls are red receipts. They go back. Harry did not read this letter.
Send another.
Were any of them opened? I can't remember.
At least one, because at the beginning, his uncle opened one.
Oh, that's right. Okay, so my theory.
Oh,
I was gonna say maybe they were like enchanted if one of them was fully open.
But maybe it's like your iPhone, like face technology.
Oh.
So like you open it, and if it recognizes your face, and you're like, he's good.
So then it should have been blank when Vernon opened it. And then if like Harry Potter opened it, it would have all the
That's a
messages.
fascinating
There you
little
go.
It is
magic.
a fascinating theory, but I feel like it, at least for people like Hermione, you know, like she's not just gonna be like, "I got a letter, I gotta go off to this place on a train." Her parents would need to read the deets too, right?
Yeah, for sure. Yeah.
Oh.
Those dentists.
Those. Yeah. Imagine. Oh, that's
but
a
then
great
they know that they're a
fan
muggle.
fiction story.
True, you're
But
right.
then, okay, fine.
That's like we need to write that fan fiction of like Hermione getting her letter first, like what her parents did, all that kind of stuff. That must
that
have
would
been
be
like a
fun.
crazy moment. Imagine like being Muggle born and you get like a letter from Hogwarts. All of us. That's
Would
all
you
of us.
believe it?
Yeah.
No, but that'd
Would
be
you
the
even
coolest
know
thing
what
ever.
it
Yeah,
is?
you
Like,
wouldn't know what it is.
Or would the same things that Harry was experiencing be happening to other people like
That's
Hermione?
true.
She's like, you know what? This makes sense. This is why I keep talking to snakes, or in her case,
Her hair keeps growing.
lions. Yeah, maybe she would experience some of that. Poor
Sorry,
ass.
my puppy's having a bad dream right now. It's okay. Hey, Wes.
We're not supposed to wake them up. No, I'm just kidding.
What was that thing?
Some sleepwalking or something.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking.
Okay. Any more thoughts on chapter 3 before we go to chapter 4? Chapter 3 is a good one.
I know.
But chapter 4 is
Is
kind
that
of
where
where
Hagrid comes?
Hagrid comes
We hear
a
and we
knock
just hear
at
a
midnight.
boom. Yeah. So
And
this is
he's
a
like,
great
this
ending.
is over. Like, you're coming with
Yeah.
me.
This is why I love this book so much too, because imagine reading this to a kid and every single night doing a chapter, and you end the chapter here where Harry's like
yeah.
wanting his birthday,
No.
and then all of a
Ooh.
sudden it hits 12 and it goes boom, and then the chapter ends. You're like,
And that's why I stayed up super late
see
reading
it?
these
Yeah, I
chapters.
know. Just imagine saying that to your kid, like, the
I would
next
never
chapter is
stop the end
tomorrow.
of these chapters.
I know.
Every bookmark was in the middle of a chapter. I'm
Yeah.
like, this feels like a safe spot. If I read another page, I'm going to be reading a whole nother
Yeah.
chapter.
You
Yeah,
guys
you're
so
right.
good with
Actually, I'd
that.
go a few pages into the chapter and be like,
Yeah.
okay, I
Yep.
think I could stop there.
Yeah.
So this is a good line. This is a funny line. The chapter starts, boom, they knocked again. Dudley jerked awake. Where's the cannon? He said stupidly. So here's my first question. What is Dudley dreaming about right now?
Lord only knows.
I know. For real. Like he must have some weird dreams about a circus or something like that.
He's probably trying to like shoot a cannon at Harry.
Yeah, for real. Yeah, seriously.
Like,
More abusive Harry.
yeah.
That's so funny. And then this is one of the, I think one of the best lines in the first book. Hagrid jumps in, and we'll get to the movies when we get to these. I'm not going to make any more movie spoilers, but even though you've seen the movies. But it says this in the book. Last time I saw you, you was only a baby, said the giant. You look a lot like your dad, but you've got your mom's eyes. And I don't know why I love that line so much, but just like Harry, who's probably never heard anything about his parents ever,
Yeah.
finally gets like, whoa, I like look like my dad, but I have my mom's eyes. Like that is such a touching, beautiful line to me.
Mm.
Yeah.
I love that so much. And then the classic line where he says after this, he explains more and he goes, Harry, you're a wizard.
I thought he said
Love
that
it.
the other way around.
Yeah,
I
because in the
guess.
movies he does.
Oh,
He goes,
does he?
You're a
That's
wizard,
funny.
Harry.
Yeah.
And then this one he goes,
What
Harry.
a silly thing to say, like,
You're a
backwards
wizard.
from the movie.
Which is interesting because when you write, usually you want to keep the more important thing, the very last thing that you say. So she's doing a good job of writing here. And the most surprising thing should be wizard. So he goes, Harry, you're a wizard. And then in the movies, it's like, you're a wizard, Harry. Rather than Dudley.
Weird cadence. I love it.
So, yeah. In the movies, it makes sense, though. Okay, so Hagrid. Oh, wait. Someone give me I forgot to do this. Someone give me a quick synopsis of chapter 4.
Jen's turn.
Jen.
Danny, you're so good at them.
But
No,
I
Jen was
did
great
the...
You did chapter 2.
I
and
did
you're on
too.
chapter 4.
Yeah.
It's Kristen's turn.
Don't look at me.
Kristen?
I'm really not good at this, guys. I'm like a
Kristen,
The
come
hard
on,
part
hit
is
us with one.
remembering
I'm a
where
big
it
picture
ends.
girl. Huh?
The hard part is remembering where each chapter ends.
Yeah.
That's why
Yeah.
I keep looking at it, but was this where he brings Harry
So-
to Hogwarts?
This is where
Literally don't know.
this is where he comes, right? Into the shack.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He like is this huge guy and he's like basically intimidating
Mm-hmm.
the Dursleys. And
But
like
he does it in
telling
such
him.
a pleasant way. Oh, sorry, I'm getting ahead of this.
That's perfect.
Keep summing up the chapter.
And then I don't. Then he gives him the letter finally to read it, right?
Mm-hmm.
And he
Yeah.
stops Vernon from like interfering, and he's intimidating. And then he sends a letter to Dumbledore, right?
Yeah, pretty much. That's it. That's it. Well,
Thanks, Jen.
let's talk about this. That was perfect. Perfect summary.
Thanks for
Dave
taking over.
Kristen.
Nailed it.
I failed.
No, you didn't. Next one.
Okay, so one thing that he does here is the Dursleys are starving, and then Hagrid jumps in, and one of the first things he does is he starts a fire and he starts cooking these nice sausages. If you were starving in a shack
That was great.
and some giant breaks in, what would you hope he cooked first thing? or what kind of food item would you think?
I
would
mean,
you hope you would bring?
sausages is a great start.
I know.
That was pretty good.
Pancakes or
I like
waffles.
pasta. Oh, breakfast.
Right.
Breakfast foods, yeah.
Yes,
In the middle of the night at 12.
I go with that.
Yeah.
Eggs, bacon.
Oh yeah, the whole. Oh yeah,
Oh, I guess sausage.
included. We came full circle.
Yeah, there you go. Beautiful footnote to that. Okay, so we met Hagrid before, but what are your first impressions of Hagrid in this chapter? We got a lot more detail on him, like who he is as a person. Like Danny, you were even mentioning, like you like his.
Yeah, he feels very warm, and like it also is funny that Harry is his only concern. He doesn't even seem to care about the rest. He's kind of just like, whenever they butt in too much, he makes it so they stop, and then he goes back to Harry.
Yeah.
It just feels like he's just so warm, and he feels like he's in tune with Harry's emotions, which I like. It's yeah, I love reading his like accent too, and some of the words he uses. I saw cod swallop.
Yeah.
Like it's like a bunch of baloney. I'm like, I don't know. I also don't know if this is stuff British people say or Scottish people. I don't know if this accent is supposed to be Scottish, or if this is Hagrid specific.
That's actually an
It's
interesting
great.
question. I don't know that. I feel like she
I-
probably based it off of some English accent, but I'm sure it was just like a hybrid of it. It was just like this like the Hagrid accent.
Yeah, that's great.
I struggle reading his lines.
Yeah.
Like so much because of this.
You have to like say it out loud.
I was
to,
just
like,
gonna say something I'm gonna have to
that's
say
what I
out
do.
loud, like to hear
love
it
that.
properly.
I love
Yeah.
that.
And,
Yeah, he's a tough read, but he's an interesting guy. What Jen? What's your first impression of Hagrid in these chapters?
I'm just glad he finally has like a savior kind of on his hand, like Harry, kind of like someone to come save the day for him, and be like, all right, enough of this nonsense. Like you're coming with me. This is the truth, and you're gonna deal with it, Dudley's. Like this is it.
Okay,
So that was kind of cool.
so this is a tough one because we have come to hate the Dursleys already. Like no one really likes the Dursleys right now. But is Hagrid's attack on Dudley warranted? Is that assault?
It's just
funny,
funny,
I
a little
forgot.
over the line. Well, no, I liked it. The part that got me was in the next chapter, I think, where he has to go get surgery,
Yeah.
and I was like, "It's still there." Like that feels over the line. I was like, you know, like temporarily as a threat, and then you like remove it, but leaving it there, I was like, "Wait a second,
Right?
You know what though, bullies, man, they gotta learn their lesson.
Yeah,
Hagrid's the bully to the bully.
yeah.
There you go.
Yeah.
But I
Bullies get
loved how he
bullied.
was like, he was supposed to turn into a pig, but that's all I got.
Yeah. He's just like out there willy
I
nilly
know.
throwing magic all over the
And
place.
I love that it comes full circle too because and one of the first, I think the second chapter, Petunia thinks that Dudley looks like an angel. And then Harry's description is he looks like a pig with a wig. And so I love that in this chapter he literally like has a pigtail now. Like he's becoming what Harry
Oh, this
thinks
is
he is.
before that.
Mhm.
I didn't realize that.
So it like
did
comes
not
a little
put
bit
that
for
together.
full circle.
Love
It's like
that.
small little things like that I love that. It's like even small foreshadowings that you see in the next few chapters are just brilliant that she does. That's it. Like yeah, it's like a little assault of Dudley was a little interesting here.
I forgot about that.
And then here's another strange question. So the logistics, and let's talk about the logistics, maybe the ethics too of Hagrid throwing an owl out of the door in the middle of a raging storm. Like
Poor
as a
owl.
response, yeah, right? Like, will that owl actually make it or won't he?
With that was Dumbledore.
Yeah, when he sent the response to Dumbledore, the storm's raging outside, and he
It's
takes
terrible outside.
this tiny little owl,
yeah.
and then literally throws the owl out the door to like fend for himself. First of all, is the letter gonna make it? 'Cause it's pouring.
He seemed pretty confident.
Yeah, I
Did.
know. It's like owl post, so it gets delivered. But
I guess. Does seem kind of crazy.
I would have never even thought of that.
Do owls have powers? Maybe not.
Yeah, I mean, I didn't think too much into it.
Yeah.
But now that you mention it, I'm
But
like,
it is
that
just
poor little
funny,
owl,
though.
like in the letter. how
And
would
he's
it
such
make
an
it
animal
angry?
guy.
I
You
know.
know, it's like
I know.
he
That's
loves
true.
the animals. I feel like he'd be the one to be
Yeah.
like, put this raincoat on
I know.
before you go out.
Yeah,
know.
maybe they just
Fine.
go through like thorough training,
Yeah.
you know, and he
knows
just
how tough
knows
and
that they're
resilient
going to be
that
okay.
owl is.
yeah, and it's magic, so maybe they're waterproofing in magic.
Oh,
like
true.
maybe the letters are just able to be waterproof.
Oh, that's a good
Yeah.
point. Like the
That is a
actual
good
paper
point.
itself. Yeah.
Like make it a head.
Was it paper?
Parchment. Parchment is waterproof. And then, so there's another part in this where I think is interesting because we were talking about this before, but when Petunia, when like Harry is kind of explaining his story, and Petunia just then goes off, and then it says this line in the book: she stopped to draw a deep breath and then went ranting on. It seems she had been wanting to say all this for years. And I think that goes back to what you were saying about like her jealousy, like the jealousy of her sisters, and how that's just transitioned into bitterness, where they don't want Harry to win. They don't want him to go to Hogwarts. They don't want him to stay with him, but they're like stuck in between these two worlds. I just thought that was so good.
Yeah.
Yeah. Is it alarming that Hagrid can't spell Voldemort? He who must not be named. Sorry.
Shivers. Wait, where was that part?
It was just a small thing where Harry goes, maybe you can write it down. He goes, nah, I can't spell it.
Yeah.
That's great.
That would be me.
All these people are you. You just like, can't spell that. That's me.
Well, I want the listeners to get a feel of who I am.
I know.
I mean, bravery and whatever. I don't know. It doesn't always connect with like being able to spelling. To be able to spelling, and I can talk. To be able to spell. I wouldn't have. It made me laugh because I thought it was like so Hagrid.
Yeah, for sure.
You just can't spell it.
Yeah, that definitely is. Like they're little small descriptions, and it's like concerning that he can't spell, but you're like, that's Hagrid. He just can't spell. It's great. They do this in the movies too. His birthday cake says like "Happy Birthday" or something like that. Like he can't even spell like his birthday on the cake, which is great.
No.
Okay, so a more serious question for this chapter, and we'll kind of wrap it up on some of this discussion for this chapter specifically. But why do you think Voldemort tried to kill Harry, and why do you think he killed Lily and James? And then going on to that, Hagrid says something about you stumped him that night. Do you have any ideas what you think stumped Voldy? He must not be named.
Wait, could you say that again? So he was trying to kill Harry only, but then killed his parents?
That's not. No one quite knows that. At this point in reading, you're not really sure.
Yeah.
So he kills Lily and James, and then it says he goes and tries to kill Harry, but he can't.
I think when it said stumped him here, I got the idea that he was after the parents, and Harry was there. Harry stumped him, and it was kind of like, I guess I'll just move on. Like, I didn't think... We already knew that he was, like, defeated, so to speak, but I just kind of thought, all right, he went somewhere else, and he's just waiting it out or something. I almost thought, like, his mission was complete. He wanted to kill the parents. Didn't really know why, though.
Huh. That's fascinating.
So stumped, I was like... It almost felt too minor. Like, someone stumped him. It's not like he killed him, like, fought back. Like,
Yeah.
It just didn't seem as big. Yeah, so I don't really know what that was.
Stumped. I like that.
Does that mean that he's more powerful than he... whatever?
Baby's so powerful. So.
Yeah. We were talking about, like, he is the chosen one motif kind of idea, too.
But it was, like, stumped. Like, something you know who wouldn't have expected.
Yeah.
Right. Wouldn't that be fitting? I don't know. Maybe I'm not following.
No, like, I don't know if we could come up with answers. We don't know enough yet,
Yeah,
but I'm just
yeah.
curious.
Yeah. Yeah. It's like a fascinating idea. And then, do you have any ideas why he would even want to kill Lily and James in the first place, though?
No.
No.
Not at this point.
Yeah, like
Yeah.
none of those thoughts really crossed my mind.
Yeah. He's just like a killing machine, kind of just
Yeah.
does whatever. Maybe like they got in his bad side one day and he just like was going back. There's not, you don't really have theories yet, but yeah, it's a weird one.
It felt like he was a menace already, like killing lots of people. So I thought of them as being like one of the many people that he killed. It was just this time he got stumped.
Okay.
Because wouldn't you be going after Dumbledore? Big names?
Yeah.
Maybe he was still warming up, practicing on the
Yeah.
lowly people.
Then he goes after Dumbledore.
Yeah, eventually. Oh, also, I love that Hagrid stood up for Dumbledore so much. So great. I was like, oh man, this dude's loyal. Just like Dumbledore was already loyal to him, you know?
Is it
Trusting
almost
him
to a
with his
fault,
life.
do you think? Like, is that much just... It's not blind loyalty, but is that much like just sheer loyalty to someone, like, healthy?
But oh, we're going ahead though.
Huh?
No, I'm going ahead because then he talks about like how he. I don't want to Spoiler.
We're only on only on book 1, so someone can deal with the spoiler.
Oh.
Just in general, probably
Yeah.
not super healthy.
It doesn't
It
feel
could
over the
be, but
line
then,
yet,
like-
but
What?
yeah, it doesn't feel over the line
Yeah.
yet,
No,
but it
I'm
feels
not
like
even-
it could indicate something.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm thinking like in general in real life.
Yeah. Oh, for sure. Yeah.
You know, not to give anything away here.
Yeah.
Oh
I'm
no!
trying to like go general.
Hagrid takes it too far.
General over trust the people is something to be looking out for.
It's good, but sometimes maybe it can be annoying.
Yeah, for sure.
Certain circumstances.
But in this, I think he doesn't really cross that line. I think he just like
No.
when it is interesting to me, like the Dursleys insult Harry and Hagrid in every other way, but as soon as he mentions something about Dumbledore, that's when Hagrid really loses it. And he's like, "Do not say something bad about the name Dumbledore to me," or something like that. What does
Do
he say
not
exactly?
insult
Albus Dumbledore
in front of me.
Oh, that's right.
Yeah. I love
At least
that.
that's how it's written.
Yeah, he just loves him so much, which I love.
Yeah.
Everyone needs a cheerleader like Hagrid in their life.
Yeah.
So good. Okay, now we're on the final chapter of this specific pod, which is Diagon Alley. Any
Oh my gosh,
synopsis?
don't
for
make me
that?
do it. It's like PTSD
Kristen,
in school.
yeah.
Seriously.
Anything that reminds you of
I did
school,
not
you're like,
read
I
in
missed it.
school because of like,
Because of these questions.
yeah, stressed me out.
Isn't
Well, is this
Hagrid?
for- yeah, they
Go.
went
No, you got it.
shopping. They went school shopping.
Yeah, that's the perfect.
There we go.
description.
Whoa,
That's it.
nice. That's awesome.
One sentence. That was it. That was perfect. Where? Here's a quiz for you. Where's the first place they stop when they go to Diagon Alley?
I don't remember.
I think he meets what's his name?
Oh,
professor.
The bar place.
Oh, that's true. Before right,
That's the
right.
pre-entry. So that's the pre-entry
And
before
that's
they
where
go
he
to
started to
Diagon
feel
Alley.
famous, which is
Yeah,
cool.
yeah.
Right.
He walks in and like people are like shaking his hand, and Daedalus Diggle came and shook his hand like 3 times.
Oh yeah, that was funny.
And because he was a guy that bowed to Harry one time, in
Yes.
some random spot.
And he was like psyched that he remembered.
Yeah.
But he was getting measured for his outfit with Draco at the.
Oh, right.
I think that was first.
Not
Was it?
quite.
No?
Not the wands.
No, that
Money.
was later.
Oh, the bank.
Yeah, you need some money.
Oh,
you need some money,
right,
guys.
to
And this is
buy
where
stuff.
this is
He
where
was
he
poor.
realizes
It's getting
he's
late. My
filthy
brain is
rich.
slowing down.
Yeah, you're right.
Yeah.
I gave you a 1-sentence summary. That's it.
This is where Harry discovers he's filthy rich. And if the Dursleys found that and they knew he was rich, they would jump all over that. But this is a funny line because this is like if this it says Gringotts is the safest place in the world for anything you want to keep safe, except maybe Hogwarts, which is just comical to me because Hogwarts is not the safest place in the entire world. I would probably say. According to the first book, it's not the most safe
Well,
place in
that's
the world.
true, yeah.
They have a whole corridor
Yep.
with a 3-headed dog on it.
Right.
They have a forbidden forest.
Right.
Trolls.
Yeah, trolls in
Many,
the
many
castle.
things.
Like, no joke. If I had kids and I sent them off to Hogwarts and there was rumor of a troll in a dungeon that almost attacked and killed 3 students, I'd be like, okay, you're coming home. Like, we're not sending you to Hogwarts. We'll send you to like Ilvermorny, the American school, which is better than Hogwarts.
Whoa!
We'll get to that later.
Insider information.
Gosh.
But that is extreme right there. Okay, so this is a funny one to me. Hagrid. So this chapter opens up with Hagrid waking up, and they immediately take the boat off the island. How do the Dursleys get off the island?
That's funny.
They
That's
take the boat
awesome.
that the Dursleys took to get on the island, and they take that off the island.
Ride on Dudley. He has this little bird of a tail.
Oh
my gosh.
That
Do
was
we
a
know?
great question.
Now, the most common theory is that Hagrid took a boat there, and that's the boat they took off. But still, like they don't,
that would make
they don't
sense.
explain
But that is
that.
really funny.
So when I'm reading this, I'm like, they go to land, and the Dursleys are still there. Like, what the heck is going on right now? They're stranded there. How the heck did they get off this little island? I just always thought that was a little funny point. Okay, so Harry gets his book list too. And I want to know from you guys. I'm going to read these books, and which one sounds the most interesting to read? Like, if you had this book list and you had them all on your nightstand, which is the first one you're picking up? The Standard Book of Spells, A History of Magic, Magical Theory, Beginner's Guide to Transfiguration, 1000 Magical Herbs and Fungi, Magical Drafts and Potions, Fantastic Beasts and Where to Find Them, Dark Forces, A Guide to Self-Protection.
Wow, Fantastic Beasts, nice. I don't know that I would go to that one first, but it's just funny that that's a movie now.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah.
Obviously, close my ears and eyes whenever it comes up, but
Yeah.
I feel like History of Magic is what I'd go to first. I'd browse through the others just because they're all so intriguing. But the history, like, what's going on here? Where'd this all start?
I feel like I would go with Magical Theory.
Oh, deep.
Yeah. It's my brain.
Would you be searching for something?
Maybe.
Ooh.
I don't know what. But I just like, it sounds like it's all
You're right. That would be a real good one to start with.
I
Yeah.
want to start there. History is not my thing, so that I skipped over right away. Probably not smart.
Yeah,
but,
maybe it would
you
be
know.
super dry.
Magical Drafts and Potions. Know how to make a good magical cocktail.
What are you trying to say?
Makes us all cocktail.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah, come on.
I don't know. I was thinking Magical Theory also, but I like the Beginner's Guide to Transfiguration. I can't say. But then it's like I wouldn't know. I feel like you missed a chunk, so you would kind of need like the history, which I hate history too, or Magical Theory would be your prereqs for that probably.
Yeah, for sure. I think, if I'm honest, I think I would take 1000 Magical Herbs and Fungi because I love
What?
plants.
Also, I like how the author's name is Spore.
Yeah, seriously,
Oh my.
he was born to write, that book.
this. Yeah.
That is this guy's destiny. He is the chosen one for the botany world. in
She's
Harry
got
Potter.
great wizard names.
Right?
All of them are just like, of course.
Newt Scamander, Bathilda Bagshot, so many good ones.
Mm-hmm.
Spores. And this is a good line about Hagrid too that I really like in these chapters. It says, even though Hagrid had told him, or even though everything Hagrid had told him so far was unbelievable, Harry couldn't help trusting him. I love that line so much because it just shows the trustworthiness of Hagrid.
Mm-hmm.
Like, he's just someone that you trust, rather than Malfoy, who Harry immediately hates as soon as he's getting his robe stained.
And I feel like that was big for Harry because he never had someone that he could trust growing up. So it was like that must have
that's
felt
true.
like home to him almost.
Yeah. This is like the first character, the first person in his life that he can really kind of trust.
Yes.
Oh, it's so beautiful.
And I think it just shows how like trusting he is too, because he didn't wait that long to be
Right.
just trusting this dude. He's like, I barely know him, but he could tell, and he was waiting for this, father figure, I suppose, in some ways, or just someone he could really lean on. It was cool.
Yeah, for sure. Okay, I want to get into wand lore for just a few minutes. We talked about this before, but we were texting about this a lot. Probably one of the
I
biggest
woke
themes.
up to a lot of things from you guys.
One of the biggest themes of this whole entire series and this whole entire book so far is the wand chooses the wizard. Now, there's something interesting that happens. Draco's mother picks up his wand. He's in the robe shop getting his robes done, and he goes, my father's, I think, getting his books, and he says his mother was getting his wand.
I don't remember
This is
that.
interesting, but do you think that Draco Malfoy has the wrong wand?
I mean, it's possible.
How do you pick up a wand for someone else?
But how his parents don't know that the wand
Right?
picks?
Unless they stopped there first
Yeah, maybe.
and it
She's
picked
just
him
paying
and
for it.
I don't know why they
She
would have
was
taken
paying.
it then. That wouldn't really make sense.
I like thinking he's got the wrong wand.
Yeah,
Right?
I like that too.
This
But I
is
don't like
interesting.
that you asked that.
Ooh, you're right. Is this a leading question or just to throw us off?
Guys-
This could be a real deep fan theory. This might have nothing to do with
That's
other
true.
books.
yeah. A lot of
Alright,
this stuff
thanks.
is fan theory stuff.
But I do like it.
That is interesting though.
Either way, it feels to me like that family doesn't respect the process the same way that maybe Hagrid does, I guess, because Hagrid's the one guiding him through it.
Huh.
Or what about the owner of the store? Would he be upset that the mom's picking up?
Wait, the owner is Ollivander, right? He's like the guy it's
that's
named
his
after.
name.
Yeah.
Wait, he's really old? Am I remembering that
He's not
correctly?
crazy old, but his wand shop is. Famous.
Oh,
he's
he's
a
like
wand
been in his
maker since
family or something?
314 BC, which is pre the Roman Empire. So his family has been making wands before the Colosseum was built,
Oh my goodness.
which is just pretty impressive.
Wow. History of Magic is a longer book than I
know,
thought.
right?
I guess he read it too.
Oh man. Yeah, I'm like, why didn't the wand didn't choose him? Unless we're overthinking it and the wand can still choose the person through
Maybe.
somebody else. But
Through a family
But
member,
for everyone
maybe.
else, like Harry had to like sit
Yeah.
there and like hold it and like
Yeah, it
try to
took
do
him a
stuff
while.
with it. Yeah, it took a while. It was a process. It was exciting.
Yeah, for sure. And this is we'll get to this in other people too, because other people don't either can't afford one or they were like given one by their family or something like that.
Like,
so we'll get there.
Yeah.
Yeah, Ron. Which we'll get.
Oh,
yeah.
because it was really expensive.
Yeah. So
Did I say how much?
I think it was
I kinda
10
lost
galleons.
track of the-
I want to say 10 galleons.
Is galleon the biggest of the
Yeah.
things?
It's probably a significant amount of money.
Yeah.
How does Harry have so much money?
His parents.
I know, but
But
They
how
left
did they
it.
get so much money?
yeah.
Think about
Well,
this.
we don't really know yet, but
Compounding investments.
yeah.
It's been sitting in Gringotts.
indexed ones.
Like imagine this is also like a little weird thing, but I think it's amoral to just have one wizarding bank. There needs to be another bank to compete with this other bank. Gringotts needs a competitor so that they can set their interest rates at a correct level.
You're right.
They have
But
interest rates.
imagine the compounding interest. So even if they made let's say they made $100,000, and over 10 years, that's probably compounded to quite a sum of money because Harry just had it was sitting there.
Why would you think that's the same as us?
Well, because why not?
Yeah,
You
why
know?
not, Jen? Come on.
And if it's the only bank, I mean, you got to be able to take a loan out, right?
I know.
You got to
exactly.
put an addition on Hogwarts. Who do you go to? You go
Exactly.
to Gringotts. You issue some Hogwarts bonds. And,
Oh my goodness.
Imagine
Oh,
Hogwarts
man.
having one of those thermometer things of we're building an addition on
They're
Hogwarts.
trying to raise money.
Right?
Dumbledore has a little red marker
us
that he
your
keeps filling in.
Yeah. When the Weasleys need to, have another kid, put it a little more on the
Seriously?
house.
Yeah.
Their mortgages through Gringotts for sure. And maybe even some of that is Harry's money because they're moving it around, interest. I can get into this. But I work in a
my
bank, so
God.
this kind of makes sense.
Yeah.
I was gonna say that's your thing.
Not my thing.
Yeah, I thought about none of that.
Me either.
There's some really good conversations that happen in this chapter too that I like. Like I love some of his conversations with Draco. I think it's revealing for a lot of ways. Like one of my favorites is Draco says, "But I know I'll be in Slytherin. All our family have been. Imagine being in Hufflepuff. I think I'd leave, wouldn't you?" And as a Hufflepuff, I take serious offense to that. And we'll talk about this next podcast. But then he has another conversation where I love Harry's response for some things. Like Draco goes, "Where are your parents?" And he goes, "They're dead." And that's Harry's
Yeah.
response to him.
It was so blunt.
I'm like, whoa. I love the bluntness of
Yeah.
that. Loved it.
Well, because it was like Malfoy was trying to get him, and he was like, this is what it is.
Yeah. Like, I love that fact, too, because Malfoy was trying to get him, like almost be the alpha. And Harry just wasn't letting him.
Yeah.
Like, even with knowledge, Harry felt, lesser than. Because he's like, he didn't know what he was talking about. Quidditch and all this other stuff. But, Harry's like, you know what? This kid, I don't like this kid already. I'm making a judgment call on this kid immediately. So I kind of like.
He's a good judge of character.
Yeah, for sure.
Harry's
Comes up later on the train.
Very good judge of character, yeah. And then I really liked some of his conversation with Ollivander too. I love the first thing Ollivander says, "Ah, yes," said the man. "Yes, yes. I thought I'd be seeing you soon, Harry Potter." I love that. And then one of the most important lines of this book, it's really the wand that chooses the wizard, of course, which is just really important. Which is, if Draco has the wrong wand because his mom got it, then it's gonna be interesting. Okay, here's another wand question though. There are 3 wand cores that Ollivander uses: Dragonheart String, Unicorn Hair, and Phoenix Feather. If you could choose, if the wand didn't choose you, if you could choose the wand, which core would you want and why?
Do they mean different things?
No,
Like, I
not
don't
really.
even really know what. I just Phoenix Feather sounds cool to me.
Yeah,
That's what I
right?
would choose.
Yeah.
I think I would do Dragon Heartstring. I feel like that just is like has a cool sound to it to me.
Yeah.
I wish I knew what that was. It feels like you'd have to kill the dragon to get that, but
Yeah.
the other ones you could get by just like plucking a little hair.
Yeah.
What's the unicorn one? What is it?
Unicorn hair,
hair.
tail,
Oh.
tail feather.
Tail feather. Got it. I missed that.
But it's interesting too because the phoenix gives the feather because he says this later. He says, I remember every wand I've ever sold, Mr. Potter, every single wand. It so happens that the phoenix whose tail feather is in your wand gave another feather, just one other. It is very curious indeed that you should be destined for this wand when its brother gave you that scar. Dun, dun, dun. I love that. It's
Yeah, that is so great.
I mean, I'm dramatic, but that is such a dramatic line in this freaking 5th chapter of the book. It's so good. I love it so much.
Then going ahead, which maybe I shouldn't say this,
Okay.
but then I was thinking. So if a unicorn hair, to me that would be like, okay, your magic is more like healing, and if you were like a phoenix feather, your magic seems more like out, like, I don't know, a phoenix is flying and going powerful, and then a dragon, whatever, heartstring.
Yeah.
Maybe that's another kind of power thing too. So I don't know if that plays into
I
anything.
like that.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
like that
That's
too.
like becoming headcanon for me. There is like certain meanings. I don't know if there's actually meanings. There is some things behind cores. Like we'll get to different cores. Like different wand makers actually do use different cores. We'll get to that later.
Ooh.
Dun,
And
dun, dun.
Different wand makers. I like this.
and this is why I think we need to start a shop called Online Vanders.
This all happened without my consent.
The problem is if the wand
FYI.
chooses the wizard, how do you do it?
But I could choose my own wand, right? I took a test.
Or it's like Warby Parker where you send 6 wands and then they get to use a bunch of them. They have to send the rest back.
You're gonna have to make a lot of wands, guy.
I know, for real.
If you're doing it that way.
I think he needs like he does have competition, and there's like different wand makers in America too, and we'll get to that sometime later. But
I didn't even know America exists. I mean,
Yeah, it does.
Never mind.
but
That's real.
what if you like because I have slight issue with the quiz that you have to take. Even
Slight?
for sorting.
Is it just a slight issue?
It's
I'm
a
not
serious
so
issue
sure.
that I have because the wand isn't choosing you. So like I have my wand on the Wizarding World website, and you guys all took that quiz too, right? Like you
Yeah.
know your wands. I mean, I just
I
don't
don't remember much.
I
but-
just don't.
Yeah.
Mine's a hawthorn.
I don't jive with that. Yours is the
That's how I
hawthorn.
remembered.
Oh yeah, mine was a willow. I think willow wand.
I think
don't
so,
remember.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
think that's right.
I like it. Like it's not even in my memory that much because the wand chooses the wizard. It's not the other way around. Like I can't. Maybe this is bad, but I can't take a quiz. But although this is like I told you guys this, I like wanted to start a wand shop, and I was gonna do it via quiz, where I was gonna like, oh, maybe not a quiz. Well, yeah, a quiz.
This one,
Because
you're
I was
such a
gonna say-
hypocrite.
I know.
But then you took a bunch of quizzes for your house.
Yeah, which I don't think you. Well, like we're gonna get into this.
So
this
do you
is
not
Well, there could be a
believe
big
in
old
quizzes
house
at all?
discussion when we get
Yeah,
to
yeah.
house
Yeah.
time. But
next pod we're gonna
So
do
how
the
do you
whole
trust
house
that,
discussion.
too?
I know that's fascinating. But for
Please
wands
can't
specifically,
say wand.
like I had an idea. So Ollivander, like for all wand makers, they know the wand chooses the wizard. But there's
Right.
got to be some wand makers
wait,
out
do
there.
all know that?
Yeah, I
That's
think
like a thing. That's like a saying amongst all of them.
If he says those who study wand lore know that the wand chooses the wizard. So what are you laughing at,
I
Jen?
love that you just like are just saying lines.
Like all of that.
Like memorize.
I like
it's
memorizing
in
this whole book.
there
Come on.
forever.
But there's got to be some like Amazon wand makers out there, like Wandmazon, another name,
nice.
that like they don't care about the wand choosing the wizard. They make them in bulk to where the Weasleys could afford a wand. And I'm like,
Oh, yeah.
maybe I'll become like one of those in America, where I'll just pick up a stick and like whittle it a little bit, and then like send it off to people after they take a quiz.
Huh.
Honestly, makes
What are you gonna
sense.
put on the inside?
There was definitely a kid that actually did that, like in real life.
Really?
Oh yeah, there was a
It
kid.
was
I
Jonathan.
forget where I saw it. It was you.
What's my name?
No, like literally picking up sticks from their backyard, and like people were buying them. Like
Selling them on eBay.
yeah, and he
I
was
heard-
like
yeah.
shipping them
Bespoke
sticks from his
wand.
backyard.
I heard a story where
Oh,
someone
wow.
was spray painting baseballs yellow, and he was calling them Harry Potter balls as like snitches.
Yeah.
He was
I heard
making
that
money
same
from that.
story.
Like, what are these people doing? It was brilliant, but it's
Sure
so
is.
funny.
Smart. That wouldn't work now, though. Would
Yeah,
it?
probably would. We gotta. I'm telling you, online banders. We'll send out a quiz. They have to take this quiz, like abstract questions, and then we'll like determine
against
what
everything
their
you
wand
believe.
is.
Yeah,
No, but
he's like...
we know enough about wands and woods that we're like, okay, we have general knowledge of you, so this is what we think would choose you.
Don't you think that's what all the other quizzes are doing?
Yeah. I know. I'm backing myself into a corner. That's one thing I believe. I didn't start this wand shop because of that reason. Because I believe in my whole heart that the wand chooses the wizard.
There's got to be a way. I'm like trying to think of how a quiz could do it or how I don't know.
I feel like, what if you took it multiple times? Would you keep getting the same wand?
Mm-mm. I think
Like
you get different ones.
Oh. You're gonna make a lot of wands.
I know. Because people take the different. People take the house quiz and they get different things, and especially. Actually, I'm not gonna get there. We'll get there on another podcast. They take another quiz, which you guys probably already know about, and people get all sorts of different things for that.
Yep.
But anyway, I just want
that
to I want to ask some summary questions of just like your general impressions on the first 5 chapters too. So we can answer these quick, or you can talk about these longer. I don't care. But what's your favorite moment in these 5 chapters so far? Like if you had just a favorite moment in these 5 ones, what do you think you would choose and why?
See, I should have prepared.
These major ones too, I'll edit this out, but these major ones are going to be like the ones I'll ask you every podcast at the end. Like what's your favorite moment in these? Who's your favorite character in these 5 chapters? What do you think the major theme is in these 5? And then we'll kind of like end it with that.
I think my favorite moment was when Hagrid stood up for Dumbledore. Yeah, for whatever reason, it felt like that was like a powerful moment. I was like, things are changing now. This is good. Stood out.
I love that.
I think I like when Hagrid just came in the shack and was like, "Here you go. This is, this is what's going down, and we don't care what you think, Vernon and Petunia."
Yeah, I was
Surprise.
thinking of that moment too.
Yeah.
It was like a saving moment for Harry.
I think that's probably my favorite moment too, and I think even that specific line is probably my favorite line in these first 5 chapters too, where he goes to Harry. He's like, "You look a lot like your dad, but you have your mom's eyes." I feel like that
was
was
great
so
moment.
meaningful to Harry. I love that description so much.
He didn't even have pictures of his parents, right?
No,
Yeah, it's so sad.
he's never seen what his parents look like, and he insteps this giant, which is probably terrifying for them.
Right.
Insteps this giant and says, "You look like your dad, but your eyes, you got your mom's eyes." And I feel like that's a good trusting moment too, where you're like,
Yeah.
"What the heck?
Well, there's that connection.
This guy knows
It's like
me."
He knew his parents.
Yeah.
So there's
Right.
That, like
Right.
tangible connection
Yeah.
that creates instant trust.
In these 5 chapters, who's your favorite character so far? Like up to these 5 chapters. And we'll keep doing this question for every 5 chapters. So your favorite character might change, but it's going to be like the first 5, then the first 10, and then we're just going to keep compounding on that.
I mean, I'm gonna go with Hagrid.
Yeah, me too.
He's just like so big and boisterous. I love it.
Yeah.
I like Harry, but just because he's so different from like my perspective from movie versus book, and I just find him funny.
Yeah. I mean, Ollivander is a very weird guy, but I love the idea of wands so much that I
Really?
think
No.
I think I really love his character. He's just ethereal. He's just like very mystical. I don't know.
I see you as a wand shop
Yeah.
owner,
Right?
actually.
Just like
grow out
sitting
your
there.
beard a
Oh,
little
I know.
bit
I need to grow
more.
my beard. Just like sitting there whittling wands, like putting cores in. Like, what better job in the world is that?
Weren't you
Better
doing
than
that
wand
during
maker.
COVID?
So we're gonna call this the House Cup Award. You guys again have already finished the book, so you guys know what the House Cup is.
Oh,
Which character? It's essentially the character that we think was the best in this span of 5 chapters. So rather than your favorite, which character do you think won these 5 chapters? Was like the best represented character? And this one will be different from our favorite because it'll be like every single 5. So like this chunk of 5 chapters, the next chunk of 5 chapters. But who do you think won the House Cup these 5 chapters?
Hagrid.
Okay.
I know. I'm like I said, he was my favorite, but
Yeah.
I feel like he kind of did too.
I would love to disagree, but you can't.
We're going 4 people all for Hagrid this time.
Oh.
I mean, I think his immediate ability to make Harry trust him is just like a huge thing that Harry needed. And then just like his ushering him into the wizarding world. Like, what better person right now? I mean, than McGonagall might have been stern with him. Dumbledore might have been like ethereal with him, but Hagrid is just a concrete, down-to-earth person who is like the perfect person to usher him into this new world that Harry's created.
Was Hagrid the first person there after his parents died? Like, did he just collect Harry there and then hang out with him till they figured out what to do with him? Like, how long was he just playing dad?
There's a...
How come you guys are thinking about
I know.
things?
The 2 women were like, huh? Never thought of that.
Yeah. So this is actually another question that people ask a lot in the first book, particularly about what happened in those 24 hours, because 24 hours passed, maybe more, from when Harry's parents were killed to when he was dropped off at the Dursleys' doorstep. First one, people are like, what the heck happened in that time period? What was Hagrid doing? Why did it take Dumbledore so long? Why was McGonagall waiting for an entire day before Dumbledore got there and dropped Harry off? Like, what was going on in those 24 hours?
He was finding transportation.
He was like, he couldn't find his put outer.
Did you
He was
see how
looking
long
everywhere for it. It took him 24 hours to find that. He's like, got it. Now I can go.
Or do you see how long it takes for moms to put their stuff in a car with a stroller and everything? That's what he's doing.
Do wizards have wills? Maybe he had to go back to some...
Wills.
Interesting thought.
Yeah, like a safety deposit box or some data room at Hogwarts to say, all right, someone has passed away. Let's see what happens to all of their stuff. Fill out some paperwork. Then he's like, the Dursleys? Who are these dudes? All right,
I like this.
let's go scout it out. I'll finish some paperwork.
Jen
Hagrid
probably
kicked
has an
Harry
issue
for a
because
while.
this is too human, like compounding interest. She's like, no, they don't have wills.
I love how you're thinking these things. I'm like, that doesn't. Yep. Not
Okay.
there yet.
Which I mean, you know my answer, but what shop would you most want to go to in Diagon Alley? I would want to go to Ollivander's. I realize that's kind of true. I don't know. Maybe I'm putting this on you guys. Well, would you guys want to go there? Would you guys want to go to another one? Which shop would you want to go there? Out of the ones that Harry went to?
Yeah, probably that too.
Yeah, I mean,
Because that was one he was looking forward to most.
yeah.
Like books? No.
Yeah.
Robes. Who
Robe.
wants to get fitted?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'll say this: the cauldron shop sounded intriguing to me.
Yeah.
Every shop sounded intriguing, and I would probably spend more time at the bar place before you get in. I'm like, butterbeer, hang out, let's play some wizard games
Yeah.
on a table. Like,
Tell me
that
how
seemed
famous I am.
social. That was like cool. But once I was in there, I felt like we only got like hints at it. Wait, he picked up his owl there too. Was that true?
Oh,
In
yeah.
Diagon
So I'm
Alley,
like,
yeah.
I'm picturing
The
like
Owl
some
Emporium.
animal shop. It just seems like, in my mind, I felt like Harry walking through this crazy new world, just like, oh wait, what about that? And then he's just getting dragged along to the next place.
Yeah.
And I'm like, I want to spend time in all these shops. I want to meet the shop owner who's been
Yeah.
here since whenever BC.
Yeah.
So I'll say maybe that cauldron shop just sounded cool.
That's a good one. What am I talking about? Flourish and Blots.
Ooh,
Wait, which one was
book
that one?
nerds, yeah.
Book.
Yeah.
I'm like, duh.
Come on.
I would spend the day there.
Yeah, imagine how many great books are in there.
Yeah,
Oh my
I mean, like,
gosh.
they're stacked to the ceiling.
Those are the
shelves
best
stacked
kind
to
of
the ceiling.
bookstores too.
Yes, with books as large as paving stones bound in leather. Ugh, I'd be in heaven.
Yeah. No.
Imagine just
my-
imagine the
that's my story.
smell of that place, like Flourish and Blots. Oh,
Yes,
best.
I want to go.
Like they probably have cats roaming around all over the place, and I love that.
Probably.
Never look at a cat the
You
same
would
way
never know if
again.
it was a professor
just,
or not.
Just turn into a person out of nowhere.
That's right.
And this is the last question. What do you think the major theme is for the first 5 chapters? Maybe like a strange one, but like if you were like teaching this to your kids that none of us have.
This is too
But-
English for me.
What do you mean to English?
Themes.
Like
I know.
English, your
That's
English
from, like,
class.
PTSD.
That's what I
If you had to
Don't ask me
summarize,
these
like,
questions.
okay, you had to summarize these 5 chapters in one word.
I know what a theme is. Thank you very much.
I mean, I could steal your word, resiliency.
Yeah, I mean, that's what I'm taking.
I mean, that's
You
a
can-
great one.
Yeah. I think there's other themes like I guess arbiter would be the word, like of someone being ushered into another like world that's not their own. I think Hagrid does a really good job of being like an arbiter for that.
Yeah.
But for me, I think I would pick resiliency for the sheer fact of Harry's unbelievable resilience for resisting the Dursleys' abuse of him.
Yeah.
And I think that speaks to his character a lot too. Like I love that he just resists. Like internally, like in his head, he's like, no, there's something better out there. I feel like he had that in his mind, and finally something did happen to him that was better, and he's able to like move into that world gladly. And I love that. He's such a good
I
character.
could go with hope.
Yeah. Oh, I love that. It's great.
I like that. Ditto.
Yeah, that one.
It's so good. Let me share with you some random facts for Harry Potter very quickly that I think are really fascinating, of just about her publishing. So she was rejected 12 times before Bloomsbury picked this book up.
12
So
times.
she sent
yeah.
this book out 12 times before someone picked it up. I can imagine 12 people got fired for
Well,
not picking
that's
this
what,
book
like,
up.
did it change? Did they edit things? Because I just
Probably not.
How could you? I mean, I'm fanboying a little bit, I guess. Like, how could you pick this up and be like, this stinks? You know,
Right.
like, it's great.
Yeah.
Maybe not stinks, but publishing companies, they look for what's hot in that time.
Oh,
and
This was a
they
trendsetter.
probably thought that this would
Nobody
never
wants to read
go.
wizard
Yeah.
stuff right
Yeah,
now.
and like you said.
Yeah. It was probably like superheroes at the time, or like, I don't know what it was really. But
Yeah.
that's like it is an interesting thing, because when I reread this for the first time, a lot of people have this perspective that this is from a purely writing perspective, not like a story building, but like from written words. People think this is her best book, because they think this was the one that was edited the most. They said as soon as this one gained massive steam, she didn't have to listen to any of her editors anymore, and she just did whatever the heck she wanted as far as writing style, which is great for all of us, because
Yeah.
she was able to include so much more of the world in
Yep.
there and like write her own style. But this is, some people think this is why the first book is so short, because like editors like hacked off certain things that she wanted, and she had to listen to them because it got rejected 12
You're
times.
right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So it like was like, okay, fine, I'll do this and do this, and she like acquiesced to some of their demands. So
Are there secret versions
I
of this
know.
book?
I'm
Oh
like,
my
I wanted to
gosh,
ask JK,
yes.
like, give
original
us
editors, those 11
the
people kicking
unabridged
themselves.
copy of this. I know, but guaranteed those first 11 people they had to get fired. Like their boss probably was like, as soon as this book got published, they're like, did this person send us this book? The person's like deleting their emails. No.
Scandal.
But I'm with you. Like, if you sit there and read this book, how, like, even the first book is so intriguing, and the first book's one of my least favorites out of the 7. I think it's so fascinating. And then I like how the Philosopher's Stone is British, and then in American they were like, that doesn't make any sense because it's about witches and wizards, so we picked the Sorcerer's Stone rather than the
I
Philosopher's
never
Stone.
knew that until I got these books. I was like, wait a second, they're different.
Yeah. What is the
It's just the name.
Philosopher's Stone?
Yeah.
It's only that one though, right? It's only the first one.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's different.
Yeah,
type.
all the rest are named the same. And then she gained so much steam. These are 2 facts about her steam. This is the first children's book on the New York bestseller list since Charlotte's Web in 1952,
Whoa.
which is insane. And then J.K.
Whoa.
Rowling became the first female billionaire novelist through this book.
Wow.
She is richer than the Queen of
Yeah,
England.
girl.
I mean, yeah, how could she not be? And,
No.
like, she has her own world,
Yeah.
literally.
Yeah, seriously.
Oh my goodness.
And imagine
I
doing
guess
that.
I just never thought about it.
Yeah. Like
Yeah.
imagine
What the-
creating that this is so fascinating. Imagine a world being in your brain. You put it all on paper, and then people do not want to escape this world. Like people will go back to that time and time again. Like she is
like you.
Yes, exactly.
Time and time again.
10 times. I
And
can't get
anyone
enough of
who's
it.
listening here clearly can't get
I
enough.
know. So good. Anyway, those are your
Oh, that's
Harry
so
Potter
fascinating.
fun facts for the day.
Wait, she's
I love
richer
it.
than the Queen?
Richer than the Queen of England.
Yeah, that just like
That's
hit me too.
insane.
That's crazy.
I'm proud
Where
of
does
her.
she live?
Oh yeah, that's some good context too. I feel like I can't Google anything, but you know.
She lives in England, and she wrote the first book in like her brother-in-law's bookshop, and she just got
On a
fired.
napkin,
and
right?
stuff.
Didn't she start writing it on a napkin?
She wrote.
I love that.
This is one of my
What?
favorite facts. She wrote the first 4 houses, the names of them on a barf bag on a plane.
Oh my gosh.
She was like,
Really?
she just had like a moment. She's like, these are what they're going to be called. And she wrote it on a barf bag when she
That's
was traveling.
amazing.
I love stuff like that.
There's got to be a Harry Potter museum somewhere,
yeah.
right?
Oh yeah, for sure. Yeah. If there's not, we'll create one. I'll create one.
You're gonna build it.
Gonna happen.
After we go to Universal, we'll have to go out to England. And
Yes,
Oh my
I
gosh.
know.
scout some
Really?
locations.
We will need,
long.
yeah.
Yeah.
It is going to get longer as we go
Traveling the
on
whole
too.
world.
Yeah.
There's so many Mecca
Following.
places that, oh, it's going to be the best.
Have you
Anyway.
been to places?
When I was in college, I went to Universal, but it was just when they were building it.
Oh,
it
yeah,
wasn't
you were
really like
saying that. That's
a
right.
thing yet.
Hmm.
So, all right. Well,
I'm Danny.
yeah. Thanks for listening. That's our first podcast. Join us next time when we talk about chapters 6 through 10. If you like this podcast, why not give it a rating? Also, give us a review. We'd love some feedback. If you like the artwork, go check out Zachary Rupert. He's on Dribble on Instagram. He's an incredible designer that designed all of the artwork for us. And then the music is by Jacob Petrus. He is on Artlist. Incredible composer. Go check his work out too. Thanks for listening.